Floor is on a mission to make NFTs and Web3 accessible and understandable. My background is steeped in crypto. For the 5 years prior to me being at Floor, I was at Robinhood. I joined when the company was just a 50-person startup. And I was in charge of the build out of the securities, custody, and settlement business. So when you buy a trade of Tesla, how does that actually belong to you as a brokerage customer? And the answer would terrify you. It's a multi-day process. The tech for it is built back in the 70s on mainframes. It hasn't been updated in decades. And so while Robinhood was trying to build their own system on top of that, right, the kind of underpinning financial industry tech, I got really into crypto and I was like, there's got to be a better solution. And turns out decentralized ledgers that are running on modern technology are that better solution. So like, I'm a huge proponent of like a tokenized economy. I'm so excited about that. And halfway through my time at Robinhood, I moved over and started running the crypto business. So in 2020, when I took that seat, it was a very sleepy side business. I got muted. I'm unmuted. It wasn't actually a main part of like Robinhood's product offering or revenue share, but it was right at the beginning of that bear run or bull run, right at the end of 2020. And I remember there was a few weeks in December and in January where I would wake up and the volume overnight was 10x the previous day. And from getting systems stabilized to making sure our settlement was working and that like everything worked for customers as they were pouring in was like a once in a lifetime experience. But it also really taught me that like you need to build something that is easy and understandable for people to actually get involved, because like access and that barrier to entry is such a real thing. Like I talked to so many women, especially who were like, I never bought Bitcoin, even though I heard about it, because there's like a secret founder and a white paper and like it's cryptographic math. Like, am I supposed to be able to understand that to buy it? And it's like, you don't know how like jet engines work, but you might still buy stock of American Airlines. Like, no, you don't have to know everything. You just have to like feel like you have the right tools and resources to get started. So fast forward to last year, the crypto business had grown significantly. Robinhood had gone through an IPO, and they're starting to look at their Web3 product of, okay, we've enabled users to buy and sell assets, but not really use them, not move them off the platform. How do we actually go about doing that? And I really wanted us to build in a Web3 way with the community at the heart of everything we were doing. And so I reached out to someone who's my now co-founder, Chris Mattern, who was building Floor at the time with a community of a few hundred people. And I said, hey, come talk to us, make us smarter, help us understand what works, what doesn't work, how we should be thinking about this. And after my first conversation with him, I was like, I don't know how, but I need to spend the next 5 years, next 10 years of my career, like building with this person, with this human, because he understands the same problems that I'm seeing and has the same ideas that I have around what Web3 and what NFTs could be. And as much fun as it is to kind of speculate on pictures of barn animals, like that's not the ultimate use case for what this space should be. And he just has a great product sense around that. So briefly tried to convince him to come to Robinhood. That did not work, but he did do the reverse acquisition and pull me out to start Floor with him. That is the very long-winded story of my background and how I got to Floor. I'm happy to like answer any quick questions about that before like jumping into the full demo.
Yeah, actually, let's like kind of go back and just level set. I know, a lot of folks are now joining us. You're getting claps and applause from the community too. So I wanted to say welcome to everyone and, share what this partnership is, who we are, and you just got to meet the powerhouse that is Christine, before we go into really what is Floor's. And I think, Christine, you embody our mission so much around, making Web3 gender equitable. And that is done by women being educated and onboarded into Web3, but then empowered to take whichever path makes the most sense for them, right? And we love to hear stories of female builders like Christine. I mean, she's such a hands-on product person who's able to think long-term about scalability and really, onboarding, hundreds of thousands, millions of people the same way, that she's thought about that in her past, which makes us really excited. And I think, feel confident in a really big and important piece of software being in your hands. And I think the other thing around, our mission and educating and onboarding and empowering is having the tools to be empowered. And I personally have benefited from knowing Chris and being able to use Floors since I think I started using Floors. We were one of the first beta groups in the JPEG Morgan, right? So I had that back in November, I think, of last year, and it has helped me make decisions around, my portfolio. And so I think it's a really incredible resource that, we are grateful for the relationship with you all to bring to the community. So what we're going to do in our time today is, hear from Christine and visually see. We love hands-on learning at Web3 Equity. So we're going to see you demo the product. We now all have the link here in the chat, so you can go ahead and get your app, through that pass. And Christine's going to really model the power of that. And what we'll do is, so everyone is actually on mute, and I'm sorry, Christine, that was me before, just to make sure people can listen to you. Now, we are going to take questions. We may pause in different moments throughout to, be able to hear those questions from folks. But if you have a question as we're going, please type that in the chat. If there is a good pause moment, or if, Christine wants to pause at that point, she'll take that question. Otherwise, after we do the demo, which is about 15 to 20 minutes, we will pause at the end to go back and, answer any questions. So just to give us all a lay of the land. So now with that intro out of the way, we are super excited, Christine. I'm going to hand it over to you, and you as my co-host have the ability to share your screen. So we are all ready to go.
Fantastic. So what I'm going to do first, for about 30 seconds, is just do a quick share of the link that Zach shared. So right now, Floor is an app in the App Store in iOS and Android. So whichever operating system you use, we do support. But we are token gated, which means if you went into the App Store today and just downloaded it, you would hit a screen that says, oh, join our wait list. And we want to make sure all of you guys get in. So we built a custom page where you can connect your wallet and mint a pass. It won't actually let me, let me actually do this really quick, see if you guys can see it. I'm not eligible because I already have a Floor token in my wallet, but after connecting your wallet, you'll be able to mint a pass and it will be airdropped to your wallet directly. There's no gas fees. We're using Polygon for this. So absolutely free for you to get in. Once you have the pass, let me drop this link as well. You can search for us in the App Store, just Floor NFT, we'll bring it up. But let me find Zoom really quickly. Oh, I can't get the chat while I'm presenting. Zach, would you mind dropping this app pass / guide in the chat as well, so people can just click on the App Store or Google Play really easily, and that will take you to the App Store where you can get it on your phone. And then once you do have both those things, you have the app invite and you have the app on your phone, this is what your experience should be. Can everyone see my screen? Fantastic. Okay, so this is Floor. When you get started, you'll see this general welcome page. You do have to connect your wallet. You actually don't have to connect your wallet. So one of the things that we learned really early is that a lot of users are really nervous or a little hesitant to actually connect their wallet and sign any transactions. And I think especially on mobile, a lot of people practice really great wallet safety and security, and they don't have their wallet connected on mobile. So what you can do, you can connect via MetaMask or Rainbow, so that will pop you to sign a transaction to prove that it's yours. You can also just enter your address manually. So that's what I'm going to do. ChristineHall.eth. That's my wallet. You can use your ENS. You can use your OX address. And it will check to make sure you have that pass in your wallet, and then welcome you in. So when I connect to Floor, let's give it a minute to load up everything. You can actually see, okay, my portfolio in general is kind of outlined here. These are all the NFTs that I have in that wallet. You can see also my ETH and WETH balance in that wallet. And over the last 7 days, this is roughly what my portfolio has been worth, what that wallet has been worth. Now, for me, I have multiple wallets. So one of the things that I try to do is only mint from one wallet, a hot wallet. I have a vault wallet where I keep all of the things that I don't plan on really selling anytime in the near term or that are really special to me. So I'm going to add a few more addresses because we do support, once you get that first wallet added, I can go in and say, okay, vault.christinehall.eth. This is where I keep the things that are really precious to me and that I like have a lot of connection to. I'll probably add a few more. I have like nfts.christinehall.eth. That's kind of where I mint from. So maybe I want to make sure that I see all the activity from that wallet coming in. And then if I go back to my portfolio and pull down to refresh, you can start seeing that it will aggregate across all of my wallets and give me a single view to say, okay, across all of these, here's the worth, here's what you have in your balance, and here are all your NFTs. This is the view that when the first time I saw it, when I was like talking to Chris and like getting to understand the product that he was building last year, I was just like, wait, I've been opening OpenSea tabs every day. I have a spreadsheet where I'm tracking all the things that I own. I try to manage it with the wallet applications, but those don't actually aggregate things very well for me. Like this was an aha moment where I was just like, it was magical. It was the first time that I felt like I actually had insight and visibility into what my portfolio looked like. And then you can start drilling down. You can say, okay, great. This is kind of what things have looked like over the past 7 days. What about the past 24 hours? Like, oh, I haven't seen that kind of graph in a long time. It's going up and to the right. Very cool. 30 days, you can kind of take a longer historical look back to understand like what has happened over the past month. You also can, if you are someone who, is actively trading, come in and sort your portfolio in different ways. So if you're like, look, I really want to understand what has the highest percentage change today, or in this case, in the last 30 days, let's say last day. The last day, what has the highest percentage change? Oh, look, these Loveless City abnormal jeans are up 100% in the last 24 hours. That might be an opportunity for me if I'm looking for some exit liquidity. Like that's a good opportunity.
Remind me to go check my Loveless Cities. I did not know that.
You learned something new.
Yeah.
Also, another piece of that is like volume, right? How much volume is actually in these collections at any one time? Like, okay, yeah, you'll see these things typically always are on that list, but oh, look, there's like some really decent volume in dead follows as well. Let's see if that trend has continued over the past 7 days. Like, yeah, okay, there's like some decent volume there that could absorb, if I was thinking about trading. If I do actually want to go and make a trade, another thing that is really useful to know is like, where is my ETH across all my wallets? Like, where is it sitting at? Do I need to move something around? And do I have wrapped ETH that might be something that I could use to make an offer? So you can go look at your balance, the current USD value and like what the current ETH price is, and then where it really is sitting. So like if I want to buy something out of my hot wallet, which is nfts.christinehall.eth, I now know, oh, look, I should probably, transfer something in there before I try to make a purchase. The other thing that I love on this main page is there's a few kind of settings that you can set up here. So privacy mode is something that will take all the numbers away from the app so that if you're showing the app to a friend and you don't necessarily want to like get into the discussion of like how much you have spent on NFTs, you could just turn on privacy mode and give them a sense of like, oh, check out, I really want to show you the activity that's happening on Doodles right now, and it doesn't show you any of your data related to Doodles, which I think is like a really useful feature, especially in a social setting. You can also change the currency. So we have a very global user base. If USD is not what you're familiar with, you can change it to something else. And then I don't think this is going to be super demonstrative because I don't have multiples of a lot of items. But if I wanted to see my kind of line item collection view by total value instead of individual items, actually, let me see if I can demonstrate this. I think I could add Chris's wallet, and that might. I know we have some of the same collections, so you'll see the duplication that starts happening. If I go back to floor price, you can see, okay, there's 13 creeps here, so that gets sorted at the top because it's a total amount versus just the floor price of that individual collection. So if I turn this back to per item price, it'll resort, it'll go back to like 195 and it'll end up a little bit lower in the stack. The other thing, well, I'll get into searching in a second. The other thing that I really love on this homepage is you can set alerts right now. This notification panel looks very bare, but that's because we've got some very exciting things shipping this week, so stay tuned. But if you want to, for example, get alerts when gas reaches a certain level, like, oh, it's really high right now, I don't want to waste my ETH on gas, I can set it to, okay, notify me, it's currently 54, tell me when it's 15, and you'll get a push notification from the Floor app to tell you like, hey, gas is low, now might be the chance for you to go buy. The other thing that I really love, and this is one of my most used tabs, is under activity, you can see everything that is coming into or out of your wallet. This is actually how I often have learned that I have sold something, because I'll list it on OpenSea and I have almost all of the things, like all the emails on OpenSea muted because I get so much spam of like just like garbage offers that's hard to actually parse through. And actually, let me remove Chris's wallet now that we've demonstrated that one thing. I actually don't know if activity, yeah, it does. So for me, the last thing that I've been really doing with my wallets is playing this game called Finn's Last Call. It's one of the Doodles community members created a fun little bar game where you try to get all of the bar drinks, but they're all like Doodle themed. And you can see I have a whole bunch of mints 8 days ago. And so this is a way for me to kind of like gut check and say, what's happening with my wallets, what's coming in, what's going out. Shipping this week, this is a little bit of alpha, is notifications around wallet activity. So if you have Floor in your app or Floor on your phone, the app will actually let you know anytime something comes in or out of your wallet. So you can have that peace of mind to like kind of know like, oh, is something I listed selling? Are there things moving out of my wallet that I don't expect? Can I take action on that? I'm really excited for that feature. Outside of just portfolio and activity, I think these two tabs were kind of the first set of product that Floor was built on top of, right? Help you understand and make sense of the wallet that, you know, the assets that you have in your wallet. One of the things that we've been spending a lot of time on beyond that is discover. And this is how do you actually understand the world outside of your wallet, or for things that are happening in the assets that you own and collect, like how do you find out about those without sitting in 300 different Discord servers every day and like parsing through all that information? So what you'll see here is two things. You'll see curated content that is, you know, very generalized. I think if we scroll back a few days, and we're like, this, it's not production data. So like a general content around NFT photography sales. Like there's this interesting thread about like this as an emerging trend in NFTs. It's you can see it in your feed and like go and read more about it. Wait 1 second. Simulator.
Yeah. We actually, you know, with this Discover feed, we shared a Twitter thread yesterday that was really like a product feature announcement, right? So I think that I think that you all are actually some of the first, are actually the first people that we get to kind of like talk to about this new feature set. And so I know that me personally, and I am sure that many of you probably run into the challenges of, maybe having NFTs from like 10 different NFT collections or even more, right? And so it ends up being really challenging being able to follow all the updates and like understand what's going on with your 10, your 20, your NFTs that all have a different Discord, they all have a different Twitter, everything like that. And so what we're building in this Discover feed is one, like this ability to see like, some broader content in the space, like what Christine was just sharing about the photography NFTs. But also being able to see updates and news and communications that they're coming directly from these NFT collections. And so, when I say that we're just kicking this off, we announced it yesterday. And so over these coming days, you'll start seeing this like really populated with the NFTs that you hold. And there's a lot of us on the team that are pretty excited about it.
So for example, all of these things at the top are based on the NFTs that I have in my wallet. So I have a BFF. And so that means when BFF puts out their weekly newsletter, it shows up here. So if you don't have a U or BFF bracelet, like this probably isn't relevant to you and you probably wouldn't want to see it. So you won't. The Moonbirds, Oddities, Proof Ecosystem, like has content, Doodles. We have actually, I should probably go into a good example of this. So for each collection that you hold, you can actually go in and see not only like what you own and understand a little bit more about it. You can actually get updates on the collection itself. So you can scroll and say, okay, these are all the updates that Atom Bomb Squad has put in their Discord or on Twitter lately. And it's one consolidated place to really like read through and understand what's up with the project and announcements that they're sharing.
This is so huge. I just want to pause and make sure everyone is kind of understanding like the power of this. So I was just actually about to do a post on how some of the things we love about Web3 actually become our Achilles heel, right? We talk about this is decentralized, this permissionless system. That means we don't have contact information when someone mints or holds one of our tokens. So without fail, every time after we do an event, I'll get a message from someone, oh, I hold one of your NFTs and I didn't know you had an event. And I'm like, we put it out on, Telegram, on Discord, on Twitter, I'll think of all these things. But the point is, it lives in people's wallets. So being able to communicate to people's wallets is, really what you have here, which is so incredible. And so I think that on the Discover page, like I really just wanted to double click on what is being showcased here. And then if we can go back to the other piece on the portfolio, so people can maybe understand what it looks like for an individual to use this page. And actually someone had asked, like, what's the difference between this and OpenSea? I just want to share a brief example. And then Christine, I think you probably have a great answer to this as well. But I think I have used this app to make decisions on selling different pieces of my collection and then at what price I should sell them. So when you click on one of those, I don't know, your duplicate or your doodles, okay, it'll say activity and it'll show, what's selling, what are the bids, what price is that going for? But it also shares from my NFT, what assets and the things that I have within that NFT. So I have an estimated value. So, maybe I have something rare in that particular NFT and I could list it for a bit more. I mean, that's a power tool that OpenSea currently doesn't, have. They have a little bit of that function when you go to list, but it doesn't show me all of the activity related to it overall. So that on this side of the UX has been really powerful for me, in addition to what you just showed.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite features, like this, and being able to see bids like really easily across all of your assets all at once, right? Like it changes the game. I think the question, how is this different than OpenSea? Ultimately, I think OpenSea's value proposition is a marketplace, right? It is the place where people come together and someone says, I really want to buy this thing. And someone says, great, I really want to sell this thing. And there is a safety check to be able to exchange, right? You're not off doing that independently. There is a contract that people will generally like trust to actually execute that. What OpenSea is less great at is like the understanding. Because once you get to that place where you're like, yes, I'm ready to sell, I'm ready to buy, like OpenSea is a great ecosystem, but going from I have something, I don't know what it's worth, I don't know what's happening with that collection generally. I need to understand a broader sense of like what are trends and how can I be an informed either buyer or seller. Like that is really where we have a value add. And I think as well as like being an aggregator. So right now, by definition, like NFTs are fragmented. Like there's multiple chains, there's ETH and Solana and Polygon, and there's multiple marketplaces. There's OpenSea and Blur and X2Y2. And hopefully there's fragmentation in your wallets. Like you have a hot wallet and a cold wallet. And like, you know, if you're like me, you can have 20 wallets and they're all over the place. And being able to get a picture of what's happening across all of those things at any one time, like that is the problem that Floor tries to solve for folks. And really the space just keeps on getting more fragmented, right? Like Starbucks is going to have their own special thing. And like, how does that play with another marketplace? And how do you actually see that NFT next to your favorite one-of-one piece of art? Like it will get more complicated. And that's where we're hoping to kind of like be ahead of the puck and try to like build a product that will solve those problems for users. One thing that I didn't show on this page is if you're in Discover and you're like, oh, okay, let me look at what the highest volume trade like collections were yesterday. Okay, there's some familiar names here. There's some names that I don't follow. Oh, Beans is interesting. Like I'm not really in the Uzuki's space. Like, let me do research on this. I can actually like learn a little bit more, understand, like look at their activity, see what's trading hands, how often it's happening, get a sense of the listings. So we can actually see like the price resistance here, how many are listed at various floor prices, what's actually available right now. Like this guy's super cute, but ultimately I might not be ready to pull the trigger on a very expensive trade after 30 minutes of research. So what I can just do is pop it on watching. And what that allows is that over time, you know, when I open my Floor app, I can see what's happening in my wallet, but I also have a watch list of things that I found or curated that I like want to follow along with. And we also have push notifications for price movements on these. So if this increases 5% or decreases 5%, you can get an update that says, well, hey, Beans is moving. So it might be an entry point for folks to get in. Another way to do this is actually search. So I'm going to use one of Zach's favorite collections. You know, I don't really hold a Timbers. I don't know what that community is about. Oh, okay, I can see what they've been announcing, what they've been talking about. Again, I can go.
Oh, Christine, we're kind of losing you.
Oh no. Can you
Or
guys
maybe
hear me?
that's me. Is everyone else? Okay, it's me. You're fine. Never mind.
Okay.
Sorry.
So search is like a great tool. It searches all ETH collections as well as some select Polygon collections as well. Zach, anything I'm missing from like the Discover overview before I go like really nitty gritty into settings and then open it up for questions?
So Christine, there's been a few questions that have been happening in the chat. Help them visualize would be helpful.
Yeah, I actually can't see the chat while I'm presenting. So if you could toss those to me, I will
Perfect. So while we're in this settings, and apologize, like if you already did this because I've been typing away in the chat, so I might have missed a couple things. If you could show like adding addresses, I think you might have added Chris's before, so you might have done that already.
Yeah.
I see that right here. So yeah. So I know that somebody had asked, like, it would be great if we could add multiple addresses. I see that you can see Christine hovering over this in our settings tab. So it's the 4th tab. Then for the addresses, you can add different ones, whether that's manually or connecting it. And that's something that like I do personally, because sometimes I need to add like an address, honestly, to make like a screenshot for like a marketing material of like an NFT that I don't have. You can hide and unhide these different addresses, like how Christine's doing that right now. So like right now, you wouldn't be able to see like Chris's NFTs, but then if you go back and click the eyeball again, once it refreshes, yeah, I see the chroming squiggle. So so now we can see Chris's NFTs as well. And that also ends up being like, you can see next to the eyeballs, you can see that you can also copy your addresses, which I personally find really helpful. Like if I'm trying to do like, a mint list for an upcoming mint or something, and they need my address to be able to get into the app, like I typically do it in Floor because it's a very easy copy paste. You can also do that for your NFTs as well. Like we have a feature that says, like, instead of copying it, you are literally right click saving it, which, is kind of like a funny NFT meme.
The other thing I would highlight here, and this is like personally one of my favorite features, is that like whenever you need help with Floor specifically, like the app is doing something weird, or there's a data issue, or you just have a question or a suggestion, right? You're like, hey, this feature would be 10 times more usable if I could do X, Y, and Z. We do have a Discord, but we also know that Discord fatigue is real, and that like people tend to find their like 1 or 2 Discord homes, like Web3 Equity, and like going into every other Discord of every other product just like becomes a hassle. So you can chat with our team directly from the app. So we have this integration where you can ask us a question, flag a bug, just chat with us, give us ideas. Usually it's Chris, myself, or Corwin. Zach also makes appearances in the chat, but let's see if Corwin's actually on right now. How do I get my my little emojis going? Come on, emoji. I guess it's
yeah.
not.
So you have a pretty high percentage of, if you do want to chat with the team, you have a pretty high percentage that the person that responds ends up being one of the founders of the team. If Christine's taking a little bit long to respond back to my Slacks or emails, I'll go into the app and chat with the team and ping her there, and I know that she'll respond faster there. So I find it really cool, and I think that a lot of people that use the app find it really fun too. That there's probably about a 2/3 chance that you'll be interacting directly with Christine or Chris Mattern when you're chatting in the app.
Love this feature. Can we also think about, so I think, the two sort of the thesis of this, the two main use cases is, one is to empower people to make decisions, wise decisions based on what's in their wallet. And then 2 is to discover and interact with the collections that are in their wallet and their portfolio. Now, we've been talking a lot about security and safety in, our various breakout sessions. So there was a question around, are my NFTs safe in Floor? So can you talk a little bit about like when we're connecting wallet through the Floor app, like what permissions are given, like what's the security and protection that you have built in?
So I love that question. When you connect your wallet directly, so if you go into settings, you add an address and you choose to use MetaMask or Rainbow, you are not giving us the ability to do any sort of transactions. We are a non-transaction app. You cannot buy, you cannot sell. We do not get those permissions from that. It is simply you sign a message that's kind of proves ownership. So let's see if we can go through this, and you can, this is a test thing, so it's not going to have Rainbow on it, unfortunately. But if you do actually hit it, don't sign anything, it will tell you like hi friend, this is Floor. We just want you to sign this message so we can prove that this is your wallet and tie it back, but we do not get any access to transact. In fact, if you do say like, okay, I want to sell one of my creeps, and I go and I look at my owned assets, we push you to a marketplace to actually do that. So there's no buying, there's no listing. If I wanted to go sell this creep, I would need to go to OpenSea. I would need to connect my wallet there, and I would need to sell there. We're very intentional about doing that because we want people to, mobile is a very specific format. Like, I think it's great for exploring and understanding, but often when people are making transaction decisions, like they want a larger format, they want to be on their desktop, they want to like have a little bit more control. So we are completely non-transacting. Outside of that, because you do give us your wallet information and we can see which wallets are yours. So like maybe outside of Floor, I don't dox that one of this wallet is also mine. So like Christine Hall is obviously me because that's my first and last name. But this other random wallet that I use, I would rather keep private. We do have a regular security audit. I was very lucky at Robinhood to work with some amazing security folks who have come and helped us make sure that our privacy and data systems all internally are pretty impenetrable. And we have a quarterly obligation to actually go and do a security audit internally to make sure that just like regular user data is being treated properly and, not in logs and all of that.
So glad we covered that. Thank you so much for that clarification.
Yeah.
And I think most of the other questions you have answered throughout. I don't know if there was another part you were drilling down on, or if you'd like me to.
I think that covers most of it. I think one of the big things that like outside of the app is that like Floor has been built with a community and in public. So we love hearing from people and hearing what's working and what's not. That's what our superpower has been and why I think the app is useful to so many people. So if you're trying it out and it doesn't become your daily driver, it's something that you're like, oh yeah, I opened it once because, we had that Zoom, but I have no reason to open it again, or I don't get value from it. Like, tell us that, because we actually love hearing that and understanding what would make it useful. We definitely know that there are different personas in the space right now. Like, there are some people who are trading 24/7 and, that is part of like what they do. And there are other people, I fall into this camp, that like until recently, like never really sold an NFT and really just collected things that like I identify with and use the app because I want to look at them every day and like love interacting with them and kind of don't care what the price is. And so making sure that we fill all those use cases and we provide value for not just degen trading, but also for folks who are exploring and getting started is so important to us.
And